CTO Secretary, led by Ms. Benedict Lewis, for inviting me to speak at this forum. I know today is a deep dive into some technologies that impact the relationship between ICT and HR. So just to start off, I don't know whether there are any engineers who are here who have transited from engineering to HR. Anyone? Are there any people who know anyone who has transited from being an HR person to a CEO of a company? You know some of those people. Anyway, that is just to kind of give us some mind challenge. Correct. Good. So, but they are accountable, I believe so. Today my task is to explain a little bit. I'll not go into details because I understand that most of us do not have that's why I asked that question in terms of knowing how many engineers here, so that I decide how much deep I can go into this. My names are William Baraza. I'm from AFRALTI. AFRALTI is a mouthful, meaning Africa Advanced Level Telecoms Institute. This is an intergovernmental organization. It was set up about 33 years ago by then Organization of Africa Union, ITU, and UNDP. Right now is a member states organization which has about 9 active member states, including United Republic of Tanzania and many countries in East Africa and Southern Africa. Our mandate is around capacity building in ICTs, management, policy, and regulatory. And we also do research, consultancy, and innovation. We have a very strong relationship around research activities with CTO, and we believe this collaboration should continue. So I think I had some time to prepare for this, but it was not very long. So there's some updated slides. I'll go on with what I have, but I'll try to explain on the updated information that I got, especially because of the fact that I attended yesterday's expositions. And thank you very much for the keynote speaker. That was very good from Professor Nkoma, especially explaining around the relationship between how technologies have, industrialization has moved from being the first industrial time, which we are calling the 1IR, it's agricultural, during agrarian time, industrial time, going to now the PC time, and now we have information and data, which we are calling the 4IR. And that, when you look at that kind of transition from those various stages of industrialization, you can see that HR is at the center of everything, because this meant a lot of capacity building of every industry for it to advance. And if you look at example of the motor vehicle industry, which came in just pre and post First World War, you realize that when the industry was trying to form itself, one person called Ford was asking the question, do I need to tell people, do I need to ask people what car they need, or do I need to just develop the car? And when he came back, he realized if he asked people what kind of improvement they needed to have in their mobility, then people would have told them they needed a faster horse. But then he went back and said he just designed by himself to develop an engine that was able to now replace the horse cart. And we realized this is actually human resource, because he had to come back and think and redesign some technology that was able to be better than the horse cart, so that it could increase the mobility of human beings. What does computing do for us? computing just increases the computation power of a human being. It does not change it. It increases the speed. So I'm trying to answer a question yesterday, does AI replace human beings? It does not. It just multiplies your capacity to be able to do things faster, bigger scope, and of course address many problems at a faster rate. So when you look at these technologies, and this slide is just summarizing some of the things that you're supposed to be discussing here in terms of deep dive. When you look at blockchain as a emerging technology, it does not come alone. And it's just as good as Ben has described about 5G. 5G is one of the emerging technologies like blockchain, IoT, data analytics, cloud computing, cybersecurity, all those combined. And I like the slide from our colleague from Vodacom, Vanessa. Very well summarized slide on how the emerging technology, all of them are tying into HR. So I'll not go into details for that, as I know my audience. I'll just describe quickly what blockchain is about. So all of us, when you came in yesterday, I believe some people also were here from Tuesday, you went to the registration desk and wrote your name on a paper, your phone number, the company you work for, the country you're domiciled in, and we have all that sheet. I think Australia is keeping all that sheet and referring to it. That is the basic database. It's a basic database. And that database, if you transmitted from here to another place, maybe in the evening, depending on who holds that paper, depending on which hands that paper goes through, it could increase the number of people who are there, depending on the intention of how that paper needs to be used. Okay? Now, blockchain is basically a database like that paper that is immutable. You can't change it. Once it has been stamped from the origin, you can't change it. Now, the other advantage of it is distributed. So it's all over the place. And give it to what has happened in technology. The technologists who are in the room, you'll know that because of most of these emerging technologies have come across because of the reduced pricing on computational power. So the price of a chip has, over the past 20, 25 years, reduced dramatically to 1 over a million or 10 million. That's the price of a chip. The computational power has increased over, 10, like 9, over to the power of 9, but that one has been reduced drastically in terms of pricing. So that's what the blockchain is all about. So as I said, is a record of transactions, and then of course there are digital signature. That's what we're talking about, immutable, and then it is distributed, so it uses peer-to-peer networks, and because of that, it increases accessibility and it increases authenticity of the data that is stored in. I wouldn't go into describing what HR is. Most people are HR professionals, so you know what HR is about. But in terms of some trends about blockchain, in the next 2 years, about 55% of healthcare applications will adopt blockchain. This is statistics that Chair, I hope that gives me another 2 minutes. HR department must adopt blockchain just because HR department process a lot of data. This was evident from the slides that were shared yesterday from all the presentations. The data that we process is a lot, and a lot of it is confidential, that you also need a lot of security on. Gartner is one of the big research consortium consultancy companies, predicts that the value of blockchain will be 3.1 trillion in another 7 years. So this is a place where we must play in. I wouldn't go in deep into this again, because the slides will be shared anyway. But just in summary, how HR benefits or expected benefit from it, it's the security of data. It will be able to benefit from recruitment, the recruitment process. And I can give you an example. I'll go slightly a bit political, and again I'll go slightly a bit the normal processes. I know most of you should realize that electoral bodies are actually HR organizations. They hire politicians to be in office. I come from Nairobi, and one of the things for you to qualify to be a governor of a county, which is an example of a province in some of the countries, or a district, is an elective position. You need to have a minimum of a degree certificate. But many things happen. You know, you find that by luck, and I think also Vanessa shared that, you know, a degree buys you the job to be in, but the skills make you to stay in the job. So everyone does everything to get that degree so that they can be a governor. But how do you get the authenticity of that? Blockchain will help you do that, because once, as I explained in my example earlier, once you are able to digitally sign that, you are able to ensure that there is authenticity in the certificates. Okay, management of payroll, many things that HR does, as long as you manage any record, however simple it is, that's where, because records, the blockchains are just, as I said, a replication of many databases in whatever form that they appear. This slide is just telling you some of the examples. Unfortunately, as Ben has also alluded to it, the uptake of some of these technologies now in our market is very slow. Obviously, they require some investments now. They require some policy changes, regulations to be changed, and therefore it means we need a lot of more engagement with the policymakers. We need more investment from partners who believe in this. We also need government to, I'm happy. Government of UTR is here, and they have mentioned about how they have done so well in digitization through the eGov. This is the investment that we need to ensure such technologies are actually are taken up by both government and private sector. So these are just examples of where it has been implemented. And the potential is what I've mentioned as well, in terms of being able to look at it in terms of payroll processing, in terms of recruitment, the examples of what has happened in other markets. Kenya has tried to do this, South Africa, as from the research that I did while preparing for this.
Baraza, you have 5 minutes more.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually concluding. So what does blockchain do for HR? It will strengthen security of your systems. As you handle a lot of data, most of it which is confidential employee data, salaries, the payroll, the recruitment, people who are sick, medical records. This data need to be secured and it should not be adulterated at any time. Decentralization. When you decentralize data, it means you have many points of failures, many points of redundancy, and that means if you have any failure, you're able to recover very quickly. Okay. Then obviously, as I mentioned, transforming recruitment procedures, you're able to authenticate. For example, if a training college and the employment institution have the same access to the same database, then you don't have to worry about recruitment or validating the certificates. Again, I come to what Vanessa said, because she said she was able to recruit someone or identify a position within 3 minutes because of this process. You're able to authenticate the certificate of a candidate very quickly. Okay, so what are we doing as a frailty? We basically in pioneering some research around this blockchain, actually most emerging technologies. We've already created a sample lab for IoT, and we are now going into this, and we want to partner with all of you, if not most of you, to be able to participate in this research. We are doing a lot of training around emerging technologies. We are partnered with IBM, and we are doing training for emerging technologies from IBM has given us some grant where we are targeting 50,000 Africans, but this is from the age of 14 to 25. And this is where now we can embed this appreciation of technology to even the HR departments from a younger age, so that as they grow, they're able to appreciate the emerging technologies. And then also we are doing innovation labs, creation around the emerging technologies, including also cloud computing. We're also doing 5G. We have a demo center supported by Huawei that has all 5G setup in our campus. So with that, I thank you for your attention, and back to you, Chair.
And like them, you and I may have started question whether...
Well, thank you very much, Baraza, for saving 1 minute. Can we give another round of applause?
Some of us may argue